So what I want to do is I want to introduce David. David is, for everyone that's joined, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day, because I know you guys are not only running your household, you're the cooks, you're the cleaner, you're the babysitter, you're the teacher, you know, you're doing everything these days besides running a business. David is a dear friend of mine. I love him and his wife so much. They are truly family to us. I've had the opportunity to be coached by David. I don't know if David would call it coaching. He probably would call it babysitting me at times. And he's been my bowl coach. He was my first bowl coach. I've taken bowl with him several times. He's a bowl coach. He's a MAPS coach. He's a TL. He's an OP. He's an amazing daddy. That's his best role. He's an amazing daddy and an amazing husband. So I'm just so proud of him. And I'm so grateful that you've made time for us today, David. So thank you.
Well, good to have you. And you just made me very stressed by saying all those titles for the record. So, I have been all those things. I'm not all those things now, as long as we run. So I am currently an OP of 2 market centers in Tucson, Arizona, and I'm a bold coach. Those are pretty much my active things I'm doing right now. I was a team leader, kind of acting team leader. Terry could probably relate to this. And you don't have a team leader as the OP, you are the team leader. So I kind of doing a little bit of acting team leader at the same time. And my wife and I do run 2 real estate teams as well. We'll do, last year in 2019, we did 240 transactions. And so one of them building in a lot of it, big production in Tucson and gaining production. We'll probably do 300 to 350 this year in transactions, even through this market of what we're doing. And so, you know, Michelle and I talked, and I actually reached out to her and I said, how can I contribute? You know, one of my commitment on a national level is to do 1 Zoom a day for another market center. That's my goal, not including Saturdays and Sundays. It's not difficult to do. As you can tell, I built my own studio here. I'm literally sitting in my Arizona room. Michelle appreciates that. Arizona, the humidity is so low. If you did an Arizona room in Texas, you'd be sweating. So, but you know, this is an interesting time right now. And I got to tell you, I got bad news for you. I'm not going to talk about anything today you've never heard. So if you're disappointed, let's see if the participant number goes down for a second. So, because, you know, I believe that we overcomplicate the world. And, you know, some people think the word fear is, you know, fear is forget everything and run. And really it's not. Fear is there's a lot of, you know, conversations I'm doing a lot with my people these days. And I'm not going to talk to you, you know, I may leak it in because I don't know if I can help it about lead generation. You're not going to hear me probably pound on you about calling your database. It may leak in a little bit because I can't help it. I want to talk about the health of our brains and our minds and how we're keeping sane. And, you know, that, you know, a lot of us are kind of jonesing to get out and meet people and socialize again. And one thing I talked about it with Houston is and Michelle mentioned earlier, and I don't know if they're on here, Chris or Tim, and I've coached Michelle when she was at the other office. And, you know, whenever Chris Hiller and I was coaching as his one-on-one MAPS coach during Harvey, or was it the first one? During a flooding. I'm pretty sure it was Harvey. I'm trying to go back and, what was Harvey, by the way? What year was that?
End of 17, right? Or beginning of 18.
Yeah, so I think I was coaching Chris Hiller at the time, and I reflect back of coaching him during that time when real estate just stopped. Anybody remember that by chance? Kind of give me a little. Anybody remember when real estate stopped whenever Harvey hit? I mean, it stopped to a point of what?
Where people were just paralyzed almost to the point.
Like no sale. I imagine there was a point where there were some closings that didn't happen for maybe, what was it? How long, Terry, you may know, Steve, is how long did it actually go without a closing? Anybody know any statistics on there? It had to have been time there was no closings, right?
Yeah, at least a couple of weeks for sure, maybe 3.
Yeah. And, you know, and I remember talking to Chris Hiller about it, and I said, Chris, you know, what do you think about calling your database? And of course, the biggest fear is opportunism, things like that. You know, I thought to myself, you know, the government, the state of Texas, has designated real estate as an essential service.
Yes.
And there's a reason, because even when Hurricane Harvey hit, people had housing needs. And even now people have housing needs. And so I think one of the things about keeping our head in the game and keeping our head in check is that you're not going in trying to take advantage of it. We do need to make sure we're leading with our heart. And I do want to talk a little bit about focusing our energy into positive versus negative. And Michelle and I had a conversation about 20 minutes ago, kind of prepping for here, and I really appreciate her reaching out. And so we were talking about, you know, the attitude of the agents and the agents that are busy versus agents that are not busy. And this is one aha I told her on the phone earlier. I said, it's interesting about agents that are busy. The agents that are busy, and let's talk bold kind of mindset for a second. If you've taken bold or not, doesn't matter. Bold focuses a lot on gratitude. The agents that are busy are grateful for being busy. And one other component, by the way, this is a David aha. Literally, this is an aha for me. Interviewing a lot of agents lately. I do something called Mindset Mondays every Monday at 3:30 your time. I'll send you a link for it. And I interview an agent for 30 minutes just like this. And the agents that are in gratitude, the agents that are busy, and the agents that are talking about the market, like paying attention to the market, are getting busier. They're ones that are operating in fear, that are watching the news all the time, that are, I guess the opposite of gratitude is fear, I guess, at one level. The ones that are focusing on what ifs, and I personally don't think there's anything wrong with watching a little bit of news. I do believe we need to keep a little knowledge of what's going on. I'm getting a Dr. Fauci t-shirt next week, I'm hoping for, you know. I'm gonna go, I heart Dr. Fauci, because that guy's, and that guy can handle some press, can he?
Yes.
But if you never notice though, he doesn't get emotionally tied up in it. And what I want you to do is get tied up. And the people that are like sitting back in fear, their business is going south. And we have noticed, and Michelle, you may probably seen this. One thing we've noticed in real estate the last couple of years, if we've noticed a separation, the busy and the big are getting bigger, and the other is a big gap in between. Would y'all agree with that? Terry, yeah. Michelle, have y'all seen that same thing?
Mm-hmm.
And here's what this can do if you don't watch it. It can make the gap even bigger. Everybody got it?
Yes.
And so we've got to understand, and if you'll notice, I told you I'm not going to tell you anything that is like anything shocking or new, is because this is my stack of books I keep on my desk right now. Anybody know it? Now, one of these books you may not recognize. So, of course, y'all recognize The One Thing. And this is a paperback version of The One Thing, by the way.
Love that.
I was in MAPS Coaching when they wrote the book. All MAPS coaches got a free copy of the early version. And have y'all seen this one right here? And that is the Shift book. I keep that on my desk. And now this is the one I been keeping grounded lately. Some of y'all don't recognize this.
That's the original, right?
Only 5,000 of these went in circulation.
Wow.
I got 2 of them.
Wow.
If you got one, Terry, and if you'll notice right there,
wow.
I got a signature from GK.
Wow.
He asked me to call him GK. We're like that, so.
Yeah. You guys just had lunch, I know.
That's right. So like, well, I had lunch with a guy named Gary. I just, so, and I want to go back to energy, and I want to talk about our mindset. And we're 2 weeks into the month of April. Anybody on here feel a little stir crazy sometimes? Okay, that's way too many heads went up and down. Sometimes you got kids at home, you're homeschooling. And one thing that Gary said on his live stream today is Gary talked about don't not have a routine. Somehow figure out a routine. And I think what you put in your head so no matter where your day goes throughout the day, is one thing I want to get you back to is the basics. And that is start your day out with the Millionaire Agent Energy Plan. And I want you to go back, and if you want to write this down, it's page 308 of the MREA. And like I said, I'm not going to tell you anything that's not something you may never heard before or read. Although, who in here would agree, in times like this, the basics is what we've always got to rely on. Would y'all agree with that?
Absolutely.
And so I do want to encourage you to relax and go back to the basics. And number one, every morning when you wake up, here's a challenge. The challenge I'll give out to Michelle, and she can blast it out. I want you to report back. I'd love to hear, is go back to the 5 areas of the energy plan. Number one is meditate and pray spiritual energy. So before you go to bed the night before, if you're a Christian and you read the Bible, I'm going to tell you to put your Bible on your nightstand. I got great advice from a good friend of mine, actually one of my partners, Christian Cole. Christian Cole said, if you want to read your Bible every day, put it on your pillow. Now, if the Bible is not what you read, put something else on to read every morning. Read something. Don't listen to it. Don't write it. Read something, even if it's for 5 minutes. I know people say, well, it should be 15, 20. Guys, if I can get 5 minutes out of you, I think it's good. Sometimes it's only 5 for me. Sometimes I won't lie. Sometimes I pick it up and read a couple of scripture, read a couple. Maybe it's a book that I've been working on. It doesn't matter. Sometimes I'll read 3 lines. I'll go, I'm just not feeling it. At least I read those 3 lines. So sometimes I do believe we need a checkbox and get our head in the game. And just so you know, my belief on this whole thing with COVID, and as you know, I am a COVID trained professional. Not really. We all think we are. Is I think May is the month you better be ready to put your boots on. I think you're ready to be better be ready to put your boots on in May. And I think you should not plan to take a vacation. You can if you want, by the way. This is called kind of like getting you ready. It's in June and July. I think you're not gonna be able to control the market. I think people are gonna be back moving. People are gonna be moving south. I'm in Arizona and Texas, by the way. You're in Texas, warm climates, those kind of things. And so I want you to get these habits ready. You got 14 days to get ready. Okay. Number 1 is meditate and pray, spiritual energy. Number 2, exercise and eat. Now, this is where just do something physical first thing in the morning. Do something physical. If you're not, like, you can go to websites and find 15-minute workouts, sit-ups, air squats, things like that. Do something to get your blood circulating. Who in here has ever gone to the gym? I know we can't go to the gym right now. Let's pretend. Remember back when we used to go to the gym and you didn't feel like going, and after you went, you were glad you went. Just curious, who's ever had that? Anybody on here? Yeah. We've all had that. And that's what I want you to do right now is I want you to go and have that same experience in your house. This is where now, number 3, I know you can do this because everybody's at home. Hug, kiss, and laugh. Now, for some of you, maybe zooming in with somebody and having a morning laugh. Maybe it's zooming with somebody, doing a morning coffee with somebody. Hey, get some coffee on Zoom, FaceTime. I know Zoom's the thing on here. I don't know about you, but I'm a little zoomed out sometimes. So I get it. I was on 5.5 hours of Zoom yesterday.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
Well, as you know, Monday's a big day because you got the growth call, and then we have a regional call, or Michelle, you relate, we're doing staff meetings. Yeah. They start to add up, doing huddles, things like that.
I stopped. We're not going to resume till after COVID's all gone. We don't do anything.
You're not? Yes, buddy.
Reminds me of a song called Zoom, Zoom, Zoom.
Hey, Mark, I'm gonna get a dog and name my dog Zoom just for fun, just for memories. I'll get a second dog and name him COVID. Like I said, this is not complicated. This is very basic. I know I'm going over here, and that is number 4 is plan your day. I think it's more important to plan your day now than ever before.
Yes.
My coach yesterday, I was sitting on the call with her, and she's like, we're on Zoom. Now, this is one of the downside of Zooms. You'll love this on Coaching Michelle. So I'm sitting there coaching with my OP coach, who's really just become my coach in general, my coach everything, and she says, hey, can you get your calendar on your screen and let's look at it? I go, yeah, I get my calendar. She goes, all right. Now, at the bottom of your screen, there's a button called share. And she made me share my calendar right then.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's a great move. And what we found is that my calendar was running me. I wasn't running my calendar. And if anybody knows, one of the things people appreciate when you take bold from me, I don't ever take bold as being a perfect student. I'm transparent. Everybody goes through the same things. And so she made me sit down and says, where can you gain control in your life? And by the way, we're going to talk about control in a minute. I'm going to do an exercise with you on control. All right. So plan and calendar. And then number 5 on the book says lead generate. Although what I want you to put on there is I want you to put care calls. Y'all probably heard that. It's not a new term in here, care calls. And I want you to think about calling people. Now, the MREA also says something in there about when you make your calls. Everybody listen carefully on this. The MREA says when you make your calls, you lead generate. Normally, objective number 1 when you lead generate is get an appointment. Objective number 2 is to get a referral. Objective number 3 is to strengthen relationship. All right, so get an appointment, Get a referral, strengthen the relationship. Everybody see my 3 fingers up here? Here's what I want you to do.
Yep.
Everybody got it?
Yep.
I want you to reverse them. I know you've heard this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You've heard call from care, check on your database, how they doing, okay? To reverse it. And that is just mean, first thing is strengthen the relationship. How you doing? Ask them questions like, what are your thoughts? How you all doing? What are you all doing these days? How you staying entertained? What are you watching? You're going to find them watching shows. And, also, I think this time in COVID is an opportunity to create memories.
Good.
I interviewed Haro. You might know Haro Setian, or y'all know Haro. Amazing guy. I coached Haro for several years. $60 million producer in Greenville, South Carolina. By the way, if you can sell $60 million in Greenville, and their price point is $210. That's their average price.
Wow.
It's $60 million.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, if you go back, here's something he said. I got to go back and watch the recording. And he said, if you go back in life and look at times when you're the closest with people, where you got a certain bond, usually that bond was created in a moment of time. You did something together. Like some of you guys did something like you went and demucked. That's a word I never knew before, Harvey. You went and demucked a house together. That created a moment. Does anybody on here have a bond with anybody because you did something during Harvey and you have a bond with that person now?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of you do. And so this is a moment in time that you have an opportunity to create a moment with people. So when you make your calls, it's not about lead generation, it's about care calls. And you get an opportunity to share a moment called coronavirus. And this is a moment that we'll never forget in our entire life. And the moments you create with people during this time will be moments you'll never forget. So you have an opportunity, believe it or not, to create an engaged relationship with people that you never would have had. And if you don't call and check on them and have moments with them, you're passing up the opportunity to create moments of time with them. Everybody with me on this?
Yes.
So you got it out here, right here on MREA. Go back. It's page 308. Put it in front of you. Try it for a couple of days. And then once you do it for a couple of days, I'm going to challenge you to go into the one thing and do the 66-day challenge. Love Jaime Corona, agent in the other Katy office, but a great, great guy. Jaime's doing a 66-day challenge where he's going to exercise every day. He's on day number 9. And every time you get along in there, further you get along, it starts becoming a habit. A great habit right now would be go to the MREA and do those 5 items right there. Number 1, meditate and pray. Number 2 is exercise and eat. Number 3 is hug, kiss, laugh, emotional energy. Number 4 is plan your day. Number 5, lead generate, which we already said is care calls. Now, do most of us out there focus on what we can control or what we can't control? What do y'all think? What do we mostly do?
What we can't control, which is probably the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Chris Hiller, I see your face up there. Good to have you, man. Did you just join us, Chris? I was talking a while ago about whenever Harvey hit and you and I were coaching and we were talking about making those care calls to people and just coming from care and things when Harvey happened. You remember that?
I do.
Yeah. And I relayed that to today, is that call and checking on people, how you doing? And they still have some needs and they need some good people. So I want everybody to write down on a sheet of paper, and I'm not going to do this on the screen. I got something else I'm going to show you on the screen here in a minute. And I want you to put a sheet of paper in front of you, if you can. Put a line down the middle. And I want you on the left side, and I'm going to ask you to do this just as best you can. As we have a bold law, how you participate in here is how you participate everywhere. And I want you to write on the left side, I want you to write the word control. And the right side, I want you to write can't control. Now, you can, I know we have a good amount of people. By the way, Michelle, I'm really excited. 55 people on here. It's great. Very proud of you. The great leadership on that. Great group. And I want you to think about what are all the things on the right side, and this is where mute, unmute, get interactive in here. I'd love to have your interaction. What are some things that we can't control?
Coronavirus.
We can't control the virus. Absolutely. Okay. That's a great one, actually, because I think that's going to lead in some things that we did not think about. All right. We can't control the coronavirus.
We can't control the weather.
We can't control the weather. All right. Uncle Harvey. What else cannot control? I want to get a long list here.
Other people.
We can't control other people. I love this. What else? Thank you
The
guys.
government.
Say it again,
The
Carrie.
government. The government. You
We
can't control
cannot.
the government.
Okay. Now, this is not a political conversation.
The economy.
We can't accord now. So let's go right there with the government and the economy. I like that. Everybody think about this for a second. And this is going to sound a little direct. And here's what I want to say. Regardless of how you believe is being handled, you can't control that.
Yep.
Would you agree with that?
Yes.
It doesn't, I mean, my beliefs don't matter at this moment, unfortunately, or fortunately, it doesn't matter. My point is, but you can control how you react. So you can't control the government. You can't control the economy. I love these ideas, by the way, because these are big deals in here. All right. What else can we not control?
The interest rate.
We can't, wow, that's a funny subject these days. We can't control interest rates. That's a bouncing ball on its own, isn't it?
Can't control lenders.
We can't control lenders and kind of their regulations. Hey, you want to hear a stat? I'm in the process of doing some mortgage company stuff right now. And I was talking to a guy that's pretty high up. And he told me right now, check out this. And when it comes to refinancing, he said there's $7 trillion of mortgages out there that qualify for a refinance.
Wow.
Wow.
That are literally in a place where the interest rate's here, they can get this interest rate, save money, everything. And so that's the reason you're seeing all this volatility. Interest rates bottom out. And then, all right. So what else can we not control?
To some degree, people's health. I mean, the health of your loved ones.
Yeah, we can control it a little bit because we control what we do. All right.
The restrictions. We
say
can't
again?
control the restrictions.
We can't control what?
The restrictions that are in place right now.
Right. And y'all are like Arizona, Texas and Arizona, very similar. Is that it's a shelter in place. It's shelter in place and real estate is essential. And so you can't control some of the regulations, whether you like it or not. Now, I did a Zoom call for California. I'll tell you a funny story. Somebody on there has got their mute off and they're driving, it sounds like. So if you're driving and your mute is off, kick that mute on real quick. So I was on a Zoom call. You can tell it's my first Zoom call. You can tell that, right? I was on a Zoom call for California, Los Angeles Market Center. And I went on right after the attorney. And I got to listen to the attorney. And I will tell you, I was like wanting to pull the parachute, I wanted to pull for the parachute and evacuate right then, because they weren't able to do things like they couldn't do buyer walkthroughs. They can't show homes. I mean, it was like, I'd never been so blessed to be in a state in 2 states where we can actually do some of our job.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean we don't do it with precaution in there. All right. Everybody gets where we're going on this. Now, could we make a list a lot longer on what we control and not control? What do y'all think?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Can't control other people. We can't control the government. We can't control decisions. And y'all actually answer the ones that I was hoping you would. That's related to our market of today. Now, what can you control?
2 things.
Your attitude.
You can control. Who said 2 things? Who was that?
Chris,
What can you control, Chris? What are the 2 things?
your attitudes and your actions.
Now, we could break that down.
I think I got that from Gary, by the way.
Yeah, right. By the way, Chris, I told him my opening on this class was, I'm not going to tell you anything you've never heard before. And I held up 3 books, Shift, One Thing, and MREA.
Yeah.
You can control your attitude. Now, you can control distance from somebody. I know that sounds like I'm getting into the Dr. Fauci. You can control the distance from somebody. You can control what you put in your mind. You can control your habits. You can control what else? Like, what else can you control? Let's do some more details other than just, I love that, by the way. Those are the categories: mindset and actions. What do we control? What else?
The people we spend time with.
Absolutely. Anybody on here? You know, one of the funnest things I think I've seen lately, whether you drink or don't drink, is not a subject, is these Zoom happy hours of linking people together in the evenings. Actually is a lot of fun. I see some people with their glass of wine, some people with their coffee. I see some people with tea. Doesn't matter. It's an it was actually one of the few things that I've done. It's like, you know, this was really cool. I had people from all over the country dropping in. I talked to people that I haven't talked to in a long time. So you can control the people you're around and what you're putting in. All right, what else can you control?
The way you respond to everything else that.
Reactions.
Yeah, the way you react.
Your schedule.
Your schedule. Now we're getting some fun things. I love those. You can control your schedule.
Mhm.
What we consume,
Say it again.
what we consume, like food or whatever.
Yeah, what you consume, and that's, you know, has anybody gone through any ups and downs on diet? Like, okay, I find myself eating good, and you fix it, you start eating bad, and you know all those kind of things. What else? Somebody else say something?
Our expenses.
You can control your money. Yeah. Right now, my gas mileage, I'm getting 3 weeks to the gallon right now on my gas mileage.
Yeah.
It's so true, isn't it? Again, like 3 weeks to the gallon. I think it's longer than that, to be honest with you. I haven't filled up gas in a long time. So now, you know where this is going to go, is that here's what, when it comes to your mindset and what you're doing, my perspective on this whole situation is, I think we do need to lead generate. Although I already told you earlier, reverse the order is build those relationships. You do need to connect with people. And remember, the mind share you gain today is the market share you get tomorrow.
Well, that's good.
I didn't write it. I'm going to go off Chris's line. I'm sure I heard Gary or somebody say it, maybe a regional director. And by the way, guys, I am perfectly proud to say that I just copy the greatest. So I'll say a few things that are just basically molded together. And so I actually heard that from Jonathan Dupree, who is our regional director of the Southwest region now. He's actually a Baton Rouge guy. And so the mind share you gain today is the market share you gain tomorrow. And you have an opportunity in this time to make it a moment where you don't lose market share of the future. You gain more friends and you create these moments. And you got an opportunity to create some moments. My wife and I are binge watching some Netflix show. One we've never watched, and it'll be something we'll remember forever. So I'm gonna encourage you to create as many moments and memories during this time as you can, while creating good habits. It's a great time to create new habits. Great time to create reading habits. Good time to create what are you listening to? You know, some people watch more news than others. Doesn't matter. And I just want to encourage you to embrace these moments in time. Create some basic habits, what you're doing, and focus on what you can control. And if you want, go ahead, Michelle.
I love that. And, you know, I know a lot of your story, and I know several of us do. Can you just tell them what happened in the last shift? You've been through a few of them, but can you just tell them what you've seen immediately, what happened, and what kept going after that?
Well, a shift is always a time to clean out. A shift is a time for you to create new habits. I think this shift is actually probably a bigger gift than the last shift. Yeah. The reason is because it came in so quick, and hopefully that means we get out of it quick. What I found about shifting markets, what she's referring to is in 2010, the market shifted in 7, 8, and 9. In 2010, that January, Mark Willis suckered me. Asked me to go open some market centers in Tucson, Arizona. If y'all know Mark well enough, you know nobody says no to Mark. And so, would you agree, Terry?
100%, I would agree too.
Nobody said so. We went in and we basically took over a bunch of operations. In 2010 was actually the worst time. It wasn't the 7, 8, and 9 was just the wave to create the hard times. And so I'm going to relate it to today. this is a cover for you to do things in your business you've been needing to do for a while. It's a cover for you to cut and make some changes you should have cut. It's a cover, it's an opportunity for you to cut out those 12 different $5.99 charges that you've been ignoring because it's more trouble to cut them than it is to keep them. And it's a cover also for you to get grounded in your mindset. And we all know that 90% of our success is mindset, 10% is skill. Although that mindset right now, it's a time for you to reestablish some basic habits of mindset. So I learned in the last shift, it was the biggest learning curve I've ever went through in my life in 2010. It was the biggest breakdowns I ever went to. It was one of those breakdowns where I'll tell you what we did in March of 2010. I took over, merged a 300 agent realty execs operation and turned it into Keller Williams. And people would ask me, Kathleen, do you remember that by chance?
My toughest time was 1987. So
Yeah, when you opened. Yeah. So that was very similar. And
yes.
people ask me all the time, what was it like to do a 300 agent merger?
Yeah.
To 300 people that didn't know it was coming, that thought they should have known ahead of time. And I always tell people it was like taking a knife to a gunfight.
Mhm.
And
Totally.
so the reality is you find out who you are during shifting times, and you have an opportunity to do two things. You can either run, or you can just hide away and let it pass by. Now, if you've ever, I'm not going to take the time to pull up my computer. I got it. If you ever look at it, the 6 perspectives, perspective number 6 is being accountable.
Mhm.
And it talks about victim versus accountable, victim bottom. And if you ever notice the victim, and that's actually a great perspective to bring to a call, actually, because perspective 6 talks about people, and you'll notice in your markets whenever you check into them, some people will run and hide and wait for COVID-19 to pass by.
Wow, that's good.
And some people will run towards it. Matter of fact, oh, you know what? Here it is. This is my highlight tactic number 1. This actually will do the job. I believe that our life will either, you'll like this. This is so relative in here. Mental shift. I believe that your life will either be about your problems or your opportunities. You'll either be running away from something or running towards something. So funny you asked that. It was right here in my book. You are either running away from something or running towards something. It's your call. To survive a shift, you must first make the mental shift to run towards what you most want and avoid the temptation of running away from what you most fear.
Wow. That's
Okay,
no
Can I get an amen?
Amen. I really was. I'm like, God always is just setting us up for something great.
Yeah, that was no lie. I was rereading because I don't know if y'all know this. Shift tactic number 1 is like, if you want something to read tomorrow morning, get it done quick. Read shift tactic number 1. You'd be like, that's it? It's like 10 pages. It's like, this is it, right? Actually, that's already 2. It's like so short. But we're either running. So that's a great one because that number 6, it talks about victim and accountability. Accountability at the top, victim at the bottom. And a lot of people right now, and by the way, you may have done it in one day. Nothing wrong with that. You know, Dick Dillingham one time, I heard him talk about victims. And he goes, we've all had victim moments in our life. You ever lost a loved one? You were a victim. You cried. You asked why. How did this happen? I've been there. But here's what Dick said. It was really good. He was teaching Quantum Leap and I was in the class. And he goes, here's the challenge. Here's the thing about being a victim. The question is, are you a professional victim or an amateur victim? An amateur victim is one where you go, excuse my language, this sucks. And you go watch TV that day and you binge watch for a couple hours and you may eat more than you should have that day. The amateur victim understands this though. He doesn't stay there.
Mm-hmm.
The professional victim draws everybody in that they can.
Wow.
They reach out and are bringing other people because they're pros. And so the question you got to ask yourself is, what's your language every day? Are you a professional victim? Or are you an amateur victim? An amateur doesn't really know how to be a victim. They just fall into it every once in a while. I'm an amateur golfer. Professional victims practice being a victim.
David, don't you think Keller Williams is really going to we've been ahead of the curve for so long now. Gary's been preparing us for 18 months for a shift, and other broker firms have not. I see that there's going to be quite a growth in Keller Williams, don't you?
Yeah, as long as it's, and this is where as long as we spread the word, as long as we reach out to help, as long as we go and talk to them. I know that sounds very lead generation based. If we don't go out and talk to them and tell them about the great things we're doing, then we're not going to grow. As long as we go to them, because here's the thing about lead generation, agents. We don't have the luxury of our business just flowing to us like it used to, do we?
Right.
I've
Same
had
way.
agents calling me from other brokerages saying, how are you handling it? So it's a great opportunity for our agents.
Yeah, my broker here got a call from the large. We're about number 4, 3 in the Tucson MLS, kind of tied in that area. The number one broker's got 25% market share. We had already had our virtual brokerage line already running, like what you have here. And I built this, got a studio, the green screen will be here today.
Awesome.
So, and they 2 weeks later, Kathleen, you're right. They just starting to figure out how to get it. They didn't have the delivery system. They don't have the content. I mean, first of all, guys, look at this alone. I told you nothing new. We got plenty of content.
Yes.
We got systems. We got the models. We have the things to do. I could not agree more. I answer your question. I think you asked a yes or no question. Yes. As long as we continue, we're going to get some calling us. As long as we go out and talk to them and say, hey, how you doing? Checking on them. Are you interested? You know what I'm saying? I think we need to do the same things we're doing for our database.
So they should be care calls as well.
I agree. Yes. 100%.
That's an aha. Thank you.
I think care calls other agents. I think and I'm talking to you as a peer right now because this is an area that I just been talking to my people about since last Friday. Let's put those care calls in place. So I'm not talking like I've mastered it. How's that?
I don't think a lot of agents think of calling other agents that they've worked with and considering them care calls, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
David, in the last 3 weeks, I've had 5 cappers come over, and I have 2 that just came over, their husband and wife. I haven't told the market center yet, so I can't say their name because they're just telling their broker yesterday or today, and they moved over. But I've had 5 in a matter of me being here 10 months because people that I've been talking to have heard everything, and now it was just the time. It's just, so it's like what you said, just call them. And one girl that was recruiting someone for 2 years, Carrie Farmer's on the call, 2 or 2.5 years, and Carrie just joined us. She's on your call right now. She's been with RE/MAX for, I don't know, 8, 10 years. And she came over and she blessed Christy Boland, who has been trying to recruit her for 2.5 years.
It becomes a waterfall. And you're becoming an attraction. So, Kathleen, I would agree with you that this is an opportunity for us to show what a difference we make. It's not about recruiting; it's about care. I think the aha out of this is the care calls just to agents just as much.
Absolutely. And by the way, Michelle's a rock star. Don't let her kid you.
Humble rock star. I remember that first bolt she took. Chris Hiller was in it. Mark, you were in it. Remember the basement at the Met?
Yes. Yes.
With the mirrors on the walls?
Yeah. That was cool to do the Man in the Mirror and the Man in the Mirror song there.
I had mirrors on all walls. I could look this way and somebody behind me put their hand up. I could see it because the mirrors.
Carrie, I think you unmuted yourself. Can you add anything that what you're seeing between us and RE/MAX? John, to put you on the spot, I know you've been with them for how long before you came over?
I was going to say I was with them between 4 and 5 years. And so I've seen it's night and day difference in terms of, the resources that are readily available, at KW versus RE/MAX. And I love RE/MAX and I miss them. I knew that, I've made big changes in, in downtimes and whatnot, and have started a real estate consulting corporation that I'm still very much involved in, during the last shift in 07, 08 when the market, crashed for real estate. And I felt led now to go ahead and make that change for my business too. So that's why I came over. Finally, the timing was right to come over, and I'm glad I did. I really wanted to grow my business, and now I'm really seeing, everything that, you guys have shown me. And so now I'm really living it. And so I'm super excited just to kind of take my business to the next level. So,
Yeah, she's been,
Good to have you, Carrie.
well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
she's been here 2 weeks and she signed up for MAPS coaching already. She already
Oh,
got,
fantastic. That's awesome. That was
I sure have. I got an opportunity to speak with Wally Marish the other day, and what a super awesome, wonderful person.
Yeah, Wally, is Wally your coach?
No, he's not. I am still interviewing a couple of coaches,
Good.
and so just trying to find the right one. And so I'm just kind of in that process right now, and just really kind of dipping my feet into everything that KW has to offer, and kind of implementing lots of different things, and so I'm really excited about everything.
I love what I do. Love leading my market centers. I miss one-on-one coaching.
I'm looking forward to it. Obviously that was not something that was a resource at RE/MAX, and so I'm really, really looking forward to all of the resources that KW has to offer.
Yeah, great. Well, Carrie, it's good to have you. So, all right. So I saw some good things in here. Steve, love it. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Agreed, wholeheartedly. Let's see. Any other? Where are my notes? I lost my chat notes in there. There they are. Any other questions? Mind share you gained today? Yeah. So Jason Abrams. Thank you, Steve. I knew it wasn't me. We control our schedules. All right. So any questions right now? You're welcome to unmic. Any comments or questions? I think the main thing I want to get through to you guys is opportunity to create a routine, create some moments, some time. I love hearing Taro talk about it yesterday. Use this to embrace it. You can create some moments with people in your life, create them in your database. These will be times that you can go back in your life and look at relationships you have with people. They're probably built around an experience you had with them. This is a time to create some moments in time. Do that. Create a routine. Focus on what you control and what you can't control. And ask yourself, am I a professional victim or an amateur victim? I think that's what we kind of added to the end there of doing it. So any comments, questions, concerns?
I have an aha, David, and I think it's been running through some of my more favorite Zoom calls. And you reiterated it straight out of MREA, page 308, which is the energy plan. One of the things I think that we are in danger of the more time that goes by in this is falling completely out of structure and just getting into what I used to tell my kids was a summer mindset. It was such a shock to them when they got out of college and they didn't have summer break anymore. They got a job and they had to work. I'm not talking about structuring every minute of every day, but just having that morning start where you have the time to get right with yourself. And then we all have different things depending on our circumstance. A lot of us are juggling kids who are at home right now and we're homeschooling. All of us, I think, miss our family and our friends physically in person. But I think at least having that core structure when you start your day, and then the number one thing after you do that to me is that number 4, plan your day. Plan it on Sunday for the week like you would anyways, reevaluate it every morning to make sure it's still on track, and, really block those few hours. I like to say if you get 3 solid hours out of your day, that's very structured, where you're in your one thing, you've won that day.
Great.
Because then the rest of the day you can do whatever you need to do. But three hours of your one thing, whatever that is for you, which for all of us is care calls and that method of lead generation for sure, you're going to win. And I just really appreciate you going back over that. It's a great reminder.
Yeah, you know what? One thing I've chosen is that we don't need to reinvent the wheel. The basics are there. We have all the books. Some of the things in the shift book, if you get in judgment and say, well, it doesn't 100% apply today, 90% of this book applies. A few different terminology. Social media, of course, is not mentioned. Things like that. And then the MREA, back to the basics. I'm just reading a lot of the mindset stuff. That's the energy part and the mindset of the MREA. I'm not sticking around a lot of the models. I'm not trying to get I'm not trying to overthink this thing. And when it comes to one thing, I'll tell you what I do have here on the one thing. Here's what I highlighted for this was right out of page 191, which is the 4 productivity thieves. And, two of them in here. I'll give the four. One is inability to say no. Remember, when you say yes to one thing, you say no to another. Fear of chaos. As much as this time I thought would be calm, it's very chaotic. Is anybody on here, and I'll go back to gallery view because I like gallery view in these cases. Is anybody here after a day of like doing Zoom calls and all that? Anybody feeling more tired than normal? And it's been amazing, that fear of chaos where we just want to stop. And so that's number two, is fear of chaos. Now, the ones we're getting here, though, is poor health habits. That's number three. And then number four is the environment doesn't support my goals. And, everybody in here needs to make sure you're building a bunker. That's in here. I'm here in my bunker here. I can't reach my camera over there because it's sitting about 3 feet from me. I got a fridge. I got water, I got snacks. And so what I did when I came home to work, when we said it's gonna be shelter in place, staff's working from home, I literally, I built a studio, no lie. I got studio lights up here. You don't have to build a studio. I think you should get one ring light. Have you ever seen a ring light? Go look them up on Amazon. You'll notice the lighting's always good. Get a ring light. Do a little things to create an environment where you can sit down and work. You notice you can't see unless I got a headset here. If I do anything else over here, when I'm doing interviews with somebody, I actually bought a wireless mic. You don't have to do all these things. I just needed to create an environment where I can interview agents, I can coach agents. This up here, I don't know if y'all notice this. Does this art look familiar? No, y'all know who did this?
No, who?
That's cool.
The Italian guy at Family Reunion.
What are you doing for new lead generation? I mean, I know you talk about the typical lead generation sources, but what are you doing typically for new generation?
So say that again, and my speaker muffled a little bit. Say that again.
That's okay. What are you doing for new lead generation? So to generate new leads outside of your circle, outside of Expireds, FSBO, what kinds of things have you found some sources that are really helpful for you and your business?
So when it comes to just basic lead generation, so the biggest issue people are having right now is door knocking is not a possibility as much. Open houses aren't a possibility as much. So you're going to need to go into your database, and you can start doing care calls. You may want to get involved in an organization and start building relationships with people that are things like people that are making care calls to people you don't know. There is still such thing as cold calling right now. So it's really going to come down to your database, building your database, and literally asking your database for people you know. You're literally going to have to go in and ask them for, hey, who do you know that I need to know? Who do you know that we can help? If you know of resources, if you know of the food bank resources, things like that. So, Dean, is this Dean did Bold with me the other day?
Yes.
I thought I recognized that voice.
Yes. Yeah. How's your foot, by the way?
You what?
How's your foot, by the way?
My foot is better. Thanks for asking. He's asking because I did step 6. On the way to step 6, I massively damaged my foot on the way to Bold. And I did step 6 standing bold one-footed. And then Bold 7, I did it with a boot on. So
I'm glad to hear it.
Nobody's going to stop me. Yeah, it was interesting. So my foot is great, Dean. Thanks for asking. So,
hey, David.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Mark Reiner. Hey, I just wanted to say, just kind of reiterate what Terry said. I really appreciate you. This is definitely one of the best Zoom calls I've had in a while. I had a lot of ahas. One of the things that resonates is I'm almost like a semi-pro, whatever you call it. Like, I feel like I've been bouncing back and forth with mindset problems or whatnot. And just the last couple of weeks, I have been doing more of the foundational things in the Shift book to get more positive affirmations and just get back into the rhythm of it. And it really does make a difference. And I just really appreciate you.
You know what? Something else to do is helps go. If your attitude is not where it is, call some people up and check on them. Your attitude will get better.
Yeah. Thank you very much, though.
Call some people. Yeah, I did that yesterday to an agent on our team in San Antonio. I just called him up and said, hey, you had a good month. What do you got in escrow for next month? He goes, nothing. I said, oh, man. I said, you okay? Later on that evening, he called me. It was like a 30-second, maybe a 2-minute conversation. He called me that evening. He goes, man, thank you so much for the call. You have no idea what you did for me. I'm like, what did I do? Does that make sense?
Totally.
I just asked one question. Let me tell you what I tell my staff. I asked them, I was like, when it first hit and we all went to shelter in place, I said, ask everybody when you talk to them, hey, just curious, how long can you make it without a paycheck?
Wow.
I told my staff to ask everybody that. I said, don't ask it meanly or judgmental. Don't care about the answer. Just write it down and let us know. What'll happen is by asking that question, Mark, it gets them thinking. And what do they say? They go, I don't know. I was the day before the restaurants closed in Tucson. My wife and I went to dinner at our favorite restaurant, Italian place. And we were sitting up at the corner of the bar and we're talking to the bartender serving us dinner. And I go, and I was like, hey, so what are you going to do tomorrow? He goes, I don't know. I guess I'm not going to work. And we're going to do takeout. He starts telling me everything. I said, well, how long can you make it without a check? It was a good conversation. He goes, so how long can you make without a check? He goes, oh, you know, I can do fine. I can make it. I can at least make it 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, my wife, we look at each other like, I'd call your mortgage company, is what I told him.
Yeah.
You know, I said, you need some help. If you need some help, let me know. I said, I promise you, it's not a charge. We'll talk to them. They don't want you to. And he was like, so people, so that just felt good helping somebody. So Mark, I agree with you. And you're welcome and thank you. So.
You're a great blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Guys, any other comments, questions? I told you I wasn't going to tell you anything you didn't know. I hate to break it to you. You got good leadership. We got another chat over here. Somebody else got something? Some people, Zoom happy hour. Speaking of happy hour.
Yeah, we have a happy hour starting here shortly. I appreciate you. I thank you so much. You're a gift to us and a gift to this world. So thank you for what you do. And I pray God blesses you.
Thank you, David.
Guys, I just want to make sure everybody knows. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Bold Pivot. I know y'all heard from Michael today, right?
Yes.
So Bold Pivot starts on May 5th. $99, no brainer. Get in there, get your head in the game. I'm going to be one of the coaches in the coaches corner that will be doing like group coaching and I want you to associate it like morning coaching. Get signed up. Anybody on here? Just curious. Is anybody going to be doing Bold Pivot?
I'm signed up.
Yeah, good. It just makes sense. Get your head in the game. 2 hours, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Get in some morning coaching. It's part of that routine we're talking about getting your head in the game. So you go to mapscoaching.com. We'll post it and get it. I'm sure you've already put it out there. And just get signed up and go. So look forward to having you guys. Appreciate you letting me be a part of your meeting today. Michelle's been such a blessing to my life. Got some great friends here with Chris, Terry. I know some other people have been on here. So thank you for letting me be on here, and Mark as well. I've known these guys a long time. So, guys, good to have you.
Thanks,
Take care, David.
Thank you.
See you guys.